Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we look at something that came from a source of some other stuff we've seen recently, Andrew Robinson, a fellow collector. This is a VHS release coming from the UK, so it is a PAL VHS that we're looking at here, but it is a really kind of cool one here. It's not mainstream Star Wars per se, but it is something that is really cool for Star Wars fans, especially now, because the subject of this one has unfortunately fairly recently passed away. In the UK, there was apparently a series of interviews called Myth Makers that were based around Doctor Who. And then eventually that was so popular they did another series of Myth Makers about other sci-fi related, actors, actresses, and so on. And one of the people who was featured in that series was Jeremy Bulloch, who of course played Boba Fett originally in the armor in The Empire Strikes Back. The man who sort of originated the character in live action, though of course it's a character played by many, many people over time. Whether it's voice or whether it's in the suit, whether it's a different voice for anime, just lots of different people have played it. But Jeremy Bulloch is sort of known as, Boba Fett, even though he also played another minor role. So, that said, what's really cool about this is it is a video cassette, a VHS release of that episode of Myth Makers, but it is also a limited signed edition, signed by Jeremy Bulloch himself, which made this a must-have when Andrew put it up for sale because, again, how likely is it that we would be able to get our hands on that type of thing now since he has passed away? There's only a limited number of those types of signed items floating around out there, and this was one that was specifically home video. So, what you got here is that I've left the original stickers on it. It says Jeremy Bulloch, Boba Fett, Star Wars, Myth Makers, new, limited edition signed copy. Not sure how many it's limited to, but it is numbered. Then the spine there says VHS Hi-Fi Stereo, Myth Makers, Jeremy Bulloch, real-time pictures. So put it out. Then on the back, and we'll go through this, it says Myth Makers, meet the stars of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Has info about it, runtime, copyright 2000, has, for more information about online orders, then the exempt from classification symbol, you don't see that very often, at least in Star Wars stuff. VHS Hi-Fi Stereo, copyright, cover design, credit, UPC, and all that. Here's what it says. It says, quote, I modeled the character on Clint Eastwood, another bounty hunter. He used to hang his head to one side. You can imagine the cigarette hanging out of the mouth, although it'd be a bit unhealthy with the mask on. I guess he is noting that the character is based on a character Clint Eastwood played who was a bounty hunter. I'm pretty sure Clint Eastwood himself was not a bounty hunter. If so, he is a dangerous man to allow to talk to a chair, an empty chair. Let's see. From his early childhood, this is away from the quotes now. From his early childhood in the 1950s, Jeremy Bulloch has built a career on stage and screen that has lasted through to the present day. Roles in Billy Bunter, Summer Holiday, Mary Queen of Scots, don't know the show, know the historical figure, and Doctor Who are just some of the credits on his CV. CV as opposed to saying resume. You know this is coming from somewhere other than the US, particularly given that this was 2000. Not bad for an actor who finally found fame playing a character whose face audiences never saw. As Boba Fett, a bounty hunter in the original Star Wars trilogy, Jeremy managed to make a supporting character stand out so forcefully that even today he finds himself being invited all over the world to conventions. The Force is definitely still with him. In this Myth Makers, Nicholas Briggs delves behind the costume and mask to find the actor beneath and discovers Star Wars treasures hidden in Jeremy's attic. This new series of Myth Makers is a spin-off from the highly successful Myth Makers interviews with the stars of BBC TV's Doctor Who. And it's kind of an interesting interview. It is mostly interview-based, so it's not just them talking about Jeremy Bulloch or anything. It's a sit-down interview. As soon as you put it in and it starts, it is a sit-down interview to start with to get Bulloch's own thoughts. Then inside you have the cassette. The cassette has nothing on this part here, but then you have your label, and this is a label which is hand-signed by Jeremy Bulloch. Says, Myth Makers, running time, Hi-Fi Stereo and all that, real-time pictures with legalese. There's a real-time pictures logo repeatedly in the background, signed by Jeremy Bulloch. This happens to be number 136, numbered up there. Only got a chance to watch it because I now have that international VHS player, but an interesting watch. I'd never watched any of the Mythmaker stuff before. Pretty cool. Focuses pretty heavily on the Star Wars stuff, but not entirely. And makes for a pretty fun watch if you have the ability to watch it. And if you can find a copy that's signed, all the cooler to have in a Star Wars home video library. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.